course, the big news of the day is the inauguration of what is now President Donald J. Trump. Kind of surreal to actually say that. Also, former President Obama, which also just, it's going to take a little time to get used to, the change, obviously, and I'm sure it's going to take a lot of time for a lot more people to really get used to it, and probably a lot of people that won't even ever like it. But anyways, not really much to be said on that. I'm sure everybody has their opinions, and I guess time will tell, and we'll see how things will be going under the Trump regime. So hopefully it'll be better than some of us expect it will be, and hopefully it's not as bad as some other people expect it to be. But again, time will tell, and we'll see how things go, and we're going to have at least 4 years of this, so we'll see how things go from this point. But all right, well, before it gets too dark here, I just wanted to throw a little something out there real quick, and I definitely don't want to jump too far down the political rabbit hole here, but I just had the radio on, and I heard them talking about the people that are out and protesting out in Washington, D.C., and kind of some people looking like they're trying to turn it into a riot. And, frankly, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. The one thing that's always been great about, our country is that, the term that we've heard so many times recently, and especially today, is that the peaceful transfer, or peaceful transition of power. As you guys know, I was not a big Donald Trump fan. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even put Trump and fan in the same sentence when it came to me. Actually, when Donald Trump became the nominee of the Republican Party, that was when the first time in my life I decided to sign on with a political party, and that of the Libertarians, because when it came down to being Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton, it really kind of seemed like, we were just signing on for two different types of messes when it came to whoever was going to be the next president of the United States. Donald Trump, no matter what happens, is more than likely not going to surprise me. My expectations are low at best. My hope is that he can do better than anybody expects that he's going to be. But the thing is that I understand a lot of people did not give Barack Obama a chance when he first became president. Unfortunately, now Donald Trump has to deal with the same thing from the other side of the aisle. But the one thing that people really need to realize is that, he's still just the president of the United States of America. And the thing is the president of the United States, whether Republican or Democrat, is not something that is supposed to be, I guess, as powerful as most people look at it to be nowadays. And I think a lot of the protest and the fear of a Donald Trump presidency has come from the flat-out fact that the people of this country have allowed the president to become too powerful. The only reason to fear a Donald Trump presidency is because you allowed Barack Obama to make the president too powerful. And the thing is what is always held true in American history is that when the pendulum gets pushed too far in one direction, it swings back just as far. And unfortunately, Donald Trump is the result of that pendulum swinging back. The Democrats and Barack Obama took things too far, and people push back, and I'm afraid they're going to push back too far. And unfortunately, that is the case where we are. And what needs to happen right now is all the people that did not like the things that the Democrats did. I don't like to use the term lawlessness, but definitely pushing, they were pushing the envelope of what, a political party can do when it's in full power. And granted, now the Republicans are in full power, and what they really need to do is they need to grab that pendulum and slow it down and bring it back to a more moderate, level, something that the presidency was expected to be, because Donald Trump is in a precarious position right now, because the last thing you want is a bunch of riots and protests and turmoil in this country right after a guy like Donald Trump takes office, because, I would not rule a guy like him out to really, put his foot down and, that whole iron fist, stomp it out. And the thing is if that's where the presidency of Donald Trump begins, then you have to look at it and say, where does it end? I mean, ultimately, in the end, the reason that I say that Donald Trump is the result of, frankly, the presidency of Barack Obama is because of everything that has been allowed to be done under Barack Obama, and the ignorance of just how much stuff has been done over the past 8 years that is contrary to basically American values in a lot of ways. And we just need to make sure that Donald Trump is not allowed to do the same things, but just allowed to do them in the opposite direction because his party is in power. It needs to get fixed. It needs to get resolved. And I know it's a little bit of a side note, and nobody can really ever predict the future, but the one thing that everybody out there that is complaining about Donald Trump right now needs to understand is that if Mitt Romney would have defeated Barack Obama in the 2012 election, it's almost assured that Hillary Clinton would be our president right now, because I can't imagine Mitt Romney for re-election would have defeated Hillary Clinton. But look at the way that Mitt Romney was treated, and that whole war on women and all the terrible things that were said about him. All I have to say is, at this point in time, is for all you people that really fear Donald Trump as a president, would you have sacrificed the last 4 years of Barack Obama's presidency, which basically amounted to not really a lot? Hang on one second, I gotta make a turn. But I think a really good thought experiment is to think about whether or not where we are right now, if you would have traded the past 4 years of Barack Obama's presidency to Mitt Romney and basically assure that we'd have Hillary Clinton right now. Because, I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump being president, and I make no bones about that. I definitely was not a fan of Hillary Clinton becoming president, but you really have to look at the long ball in a lot of this stuff. And that, as I used that term before, that cult of personality that fell onto why we got Barack Obama, it is nothing but cult of personality right now with Donald Trump. And if we would have reined some of that back in 2012, I think Mitt Romney would have been a caretaker president. I don't think much of anything would have changed with him. I mean, he was actually, an advocate, to a different degree of, the quote-unquote Romney care that supposedly was a blueprint for Obamacare. But I can't imagine that in the 4 years that Mitt Romney would have been president, that really much of anything would have been undone from Barack Obama's first 4 years. And we'd probably be looking at Hillary Clinton in office right now. So people just need to think about stuff like that, how things play out in the long run, because I have my doubts as to whether or not Donald Trump is going to be more than a one-term president. And to be honest with you, I would not be surprised if within the first 2 years of his presidency that he ends up impeached or has to resign from office for some reason or another, because let's be honest, the Democrats can't stand him already. And which is really weird, because I think if he would have run as a Democrat and just switched a few of his points of view, he could have possibly been one of the most popular presidents we ever had. But there are people that just cannot get past the D and the R, whether or not someone's a Democrat or a Republican. And ultimately, it's sad, because Donald Trump, I think, most of his life has had more in line with Democrats than he has with Republicans. But you have to take a look at where things are now, and I mean, he's a one-term president, most likely, and the Democrats would love to see him go, and frankly, I think the Republicans would go right along with it, because I think in the end, they would be a lot happier having Mike Pence as president and having him run for would run for re-election if he replaced Donald Trump. So, I don't know, man, we're definitely in a crazy place in this country right now, and, I really... I think a lot of people thought they knew what they thought they knew, and we are definitely in uncharted waters right now. You got to give Donald Trump credit, because, I mean, for a man like him, doesn't surprise me in the least, the following that he got and the way he conducts himself and things like that. But, you know, I guess the one thing that can't be taken away from him is, you know, he's about as close to a man of the people as we're going to get as president. A man that had zero political experience and basically bulldozed his way into the presidency like nobody has before, and that's pretty incredible. So anyways, I don't want this whole vlog to be a political rant, just a couple thoughts on the inauguration of Donald Trump. And starting to get dark out, a little bit more rain, kind of gloomy. I don't know, it's just kind of fitting weather for kind of how I feel about where things are in the country right now, and just hoping that as the days and weeks go by, maybe we can start getting some better, I don't know, maybe we can start getting some good news and maybe a better feeling of where our country's going right now, because right now kind of really feels like we're treading thin ice right now, and hopefully